Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Holy Shoot Podcast, a podcast that is all about the world of professional wrestling. I'm your host, Broderick, and joining me today are...
Buongiorno, Jason.
It's a very Italian introduction. It's me. I'm Sam. I'm not Italian.
I knew that would disrupt you, Sam.
It did. It threw me off. I'm not Italian. I am part German, but I don't know how to speak any of it. So I'm not going to try.
Bonjour, Monsieur Layton et Monsieur Norris.
Oui, je study GCSE français aussi. I don't know what the French word for study is. Look, I'm English, all right? We don't do learning other languages.
Parlez-vous français?
Are we not doing this episode in Japanese? I figured we might because it's a G1 episode.
We can try. I know even less Japanese. Yeah. Ohayo gozaimasu. That means good morning.
Yeah. Jason-san.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Showing off our extreme knowledge of the language, the noble language of Japanese.
Apparently it's a very difficult language to learn. I've been told by someone who's tried learning it and she just went, nah, don't bother.
Well, it wouldn't be Jason-san, it would be Norris-san.
See, it's already confusing. I don't understand things, okay, Jason? It's been 37 episodes of this podcast. I've lost count. Come on.
It's very confusing.
Right, we're not doing it in Japanese, fair enough. How is everyone?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's the G1. I love New Japan. I'm intensely hyped, which is why we're doing this entire episode.
I'm just looking forward to the Chicken Wing Festival I'm going to in the weekend, so that's my priority sorted.
Yeah, that's a very London event, isn't it? A chicken wing festival.
A Chicken Wing Festival in Peckham on a rooftop, listen to R&B music.
Woo! Yeah. Oh, is it at Frank's?
No, I'm not sure. I haven't been to Peckham really, I don't think. So it should be an interesting experience. Being in the west side of London, I very rarely go southeast.
You don't go south of the river. There's nothing there.
Oh, that's offensive.
Do you actually? Wait, hang on. Am I the only person who lives north of the river in London?
No, I live north of the river, but you know, south ain't too bad.
Once you go south of the river, it's just a wasteland of like empty, just waste ground with teenagers kicking bins around, and that's all. No houses, no buildings. It's just the Wild West down there.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I've been to Denmark Hill, so I kind of agree with you, but.
No, in all seriousness, Peckham is a great part of the city, and it's also very cheap. So, you know, that's an advantage. Probably the only place you can get a pint for less than £4 in Central. That's not Wetherspoons.
About to say. I'm trying to think. Yeah, wow, shit, really? I'm looking forward to it then.
Yeah, it's good.
This is a festival, they'll probably charge me £6 for the pint, so.
Oh, yeah. But you get free chicken wings as well, so, you know, there's that.
No, it's £1 a wing.
Oh, wow. So you're paying to get in and then you're paying for the wings?
Yeah, I didn't really think that went through.
No, this is like the WWE's treatment of their workers, but it's the Chicken Wing Festival treating the attendees of the Chicken Wing Festival, you know. Not willing to put in the extra cash.
Sam, it might be a great festival, so, you know.
It might be, yeah. I should stop shit-talking it because I'm not going.
Yeah. You're just gel. You're just gel.
Yeah.
How about your week, Jason? How's it been?
It's been a pretty busy week for me. Work stuff has kept me pretty busy. But it's a good weekend into the bookends. Last Sunday we went to Wrestle Queendom 2, which was a really fun show. And then this Saturday I've got Woking Party in the Park, which will be live music and beer and stuff like that, which is local to me. So that's either side of a very busy working week.
Oh, cool. Anyone exciting playing at Woking Party in the Park?
No, there's normally like someone who was in Status Quo with his new band, and like a Jam tribute band. It's that level, but it's fun because they do
that's always
beer
and
like
exactly.
bouncy castles and candy floss.
That sounds pretty good fun.
Bouncy castles and candy floss.
Yeah.
Jason, the oldest person in this group and the man-child of this group. Anyway, swiftly moving on. As Sam said, he's looking forward to the G1. We're all looking forward to the G1, and that's why we have the G1 special episode right here this evening. So yeah, we'll be previewing that straight after the break. Like a G1, like a G1. It's like a G6, but
Yeah. Does anyone remember that
G1.
song?
Yeah, no one remembers that, but that was a reference from my university days.
Yeah. There's one person listening being like, "Oh, they're speaking my language."
Yeah, to be honest, it's not even my language. I didn't even like the song. But anyway,
Nobody did.
So our G1 special preview, whatever you want to call it, will be broken down into two sections. The second section, which comes after this section, will actually break down blocks A and block B, we'll talk through about each entrant into each block, the notable achievements, and discuss potential exciting matchups. However, in this first section will be our New Japan primer, our G1 primer, if you will, explaining the format to rookies. Mainly Sam explained it to me and Jason, essentially. Talk about how the card is structured, alternate days, undercard tags, and stuff like that, and how to watch the G1 too, since it is a long series, in a good way, but in a long series of wrestling matches. So, Sam, since this is what you wanted to do,
I did.
Little insider knowledge, the Dave Meltzer of this podcast is me. Where do you want to start?
So I thought the best thing to do would be to talk about the G1 rules and just a general overview of the tournament, because it is a tournament, rather than just talking about G1. If you about New Japan, if you want to know about their factions in more detail, go and check out the New Japan YouTube channel, because they've got loads of good video series that are like about the formation of Bullet Club and Chaos and so on. So we'll spare you that here. Also, I could talk for fucking ages about that stuff, and you don't want to hear that. So we'll just go over the G1 rules in a nutshell. It's a league style tournament, so it's not single elimination. There are two blocks of, I think, 12 wrestlers in each block. Is it 10? It's 10. Okay. And in each block, every wrestler will wrestle every other wrestler with a point system, kind of like football. You get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and no points for a loss. And then once every wrestler in each block has wrestled every other wrestler, then you go through to a final with the winners of both blocks. It's quite a neat storyline way of keeping hot feuds and stuff separate while still giving people plenty of matches they like, and it means you can build to like a really big match in the finish, and you don't give all the big matches away in this one big month. So if you win the G1, if you win the final, then you win the G1 briefcase, which is kind of like the Money in the Bank briefcase for WWE, but it works a bit more like a normal kind of title, in that the briefcase winner usually has at least one or two briefcase defenses between now and Wrestle Kingdom or between the end of G1, which is the end of August, and Wrestle Kingdom in January. We might get one of those at Royal Quest, actually. It's kind of like, it's a common match to have as the top match on like a B or a C show. So no one's ever actually lost the G1 briefcase. So it's kind of like a New Japan trope to just expect the briefcase winner to win the briefcase. But everyone always says, this could be the first year that the winner loses the briefcase. So we'll see. So that is essentially the G1 in a very short nutshell. It's a brutally long wrestling tournament. Something that's important to remember during the G1 is that New Japan has a rule where if you're able to score a pinfall on a champion in any non-title match, so that could be a singles match, it could be a multi-man match or a multi-man tag. So even if the title's not on the line, if you pin the champion, you get a title shot against the champion. And that counts even if in between you getting the shot and you pinning the champion and your match date, they lose the belt, you still get a match against the current champion, so you don't lose your opportunity or have to wrestle someone for no reason.
Many people pin the champion in this kind of
actually,
round robin.
It because of the nature of the tournament, there's lots and lots of upsets, lots of space for upsets, because it's like a 30-day long wrestling slog. You can have kind of lower card dudes scoring an upset pin. Like, for example, 2 years ago, Evil, who was kind of a mid-card guy, he pinned Okada, and that was right at the start of Okada's like demon power run with the heavyweight championship. So that was quite a big deal, and that's explained away because the night before, before Okada had a really brutal match. You also get things like we'll talk about this a bit later, but no, maybe we'll go into the details now. The way that the tournament runs, you have alternating days. So on one day you'll have all of the A block singles matches, and then the following day you have all the B block singles matches. And on those cards, the guys who aren't in singles matches that night take part in multi-man tag matches, which are used with like lower card guys or junior heavyweights to set up storylines. And so you sometimes get things like a heel wrestler in that multi-man tag will single out and target like a particular body part from one of their opponents to soften it up for the following day and things like that. So you can kind of explain away the upsets that way.
Okay, and how does this work with Will Ospreay in this tournament?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. He's not in the same block as Shingo Takagi either? No, he's not. So I don't know. Yeah, there's no other juniors in this tournament except Will Ospreay and Shingo, and they're in different blocks, I guess, because they don't need to give that match away again.
Is Kenta classified as a junior heavyweight because he's new and he's in WWE when he was Hideo Itami, he was less than 205. So
yeah, he was. So he could fit into junior, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just put him straight into the heavyweight division, because I feel like in America, Hideo Itami is relatively unknown. In Japan, he's the top guy from Pro Wrestling Noah, and Pro Wrestling Noah is really big in Japan. Not as well known as New Japan outside of Japan. They have a lot less Western wrestlers, but it's still in Japan itself, it's massive.
Sam, we're going on a tangent. What's the weight limit for the junior heavyweight? Is it a weight limit division? Because I was just looking at, you got Zack Sabre Jr. and you've got Kota Ibushi in the same block as Will Ospreay. So are they guys that could really challenge for the junior belt if they go down that route?
Possibly. I actually don't know if there's a weight limit. I always think of the junior division as more experience rather than weight. Yeah. Because you get like guys like Shingo Takagi. He's relatively new to the company, but he's a big lad. Like he's not going to look out of place in this tournament.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah.
And Ibushi's challenge. Well, Ibushi has been Intercontinental Champion this past year, so he is more of a quote-unquote heavyweight wrestler.
Okay. I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have to see how this one pans out, but it seems like when it comes to Okada, if he gets pinned, so he could in theory lose every match and have a run of 9 contenders in theory.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's what makes watching the champions matches so exciting during the G1 is you could see a real upset leading to like a really impressive singles match later on. Like, for example, Zack Sabre Jr. had a title shot against Okada last year because he beat Okada during the New Japan Cup, which is similar to the G1, like a very grueling tournament, lots of matches in a short space of time. So he kind of was able to get Okada's number in that. And get the pin. So yeah, the A block looks pretty exciting for that reason because there's quite a lot of champions there. I don't know how it's going to work with the Rev Pro title either, because I know New Japan quite often treat it like it's their own title, but yeah, it is a different show. So I don't know if anyone pinning Zack Sabre Jr. gets a shot on the at the Rev Pro title.
I don't think they would.
But that's kind of an overview of the tournament and things you need to know about New Japan, and obviously the card structure. Also, I should probably mention C Block at this point. It is a stupid joke. It doesn't really exist. So what normally happens in the undercard is some of the heavyweights will get paired up with people who aren't on the G1 tour as tag partners. So, for example, I don't know if you remember seeing John Moxley beating up Shota Umino after the match and then like taking him away. Like, this is my young boy now. Those guys are going to be tag partners for this tour. So Toa Hanare and David Finlay, two of the lower card dudes, noticed that they had a special singles match at the end of the run, and so they decided to make their own G1 tournament called C Block, where, yeah, it was essentially the same rules but for tag matches instead. It was all a bit silly. David Finlay won it in the end, but none of the Japanese crowd or Japanese commentators know anything about it. So it's quite fun reading Twitter afterwards to hear the Japanese commentators be like, why does he have that trophy? What's he celebrating for? I don't understand, which is quite good. And also it shows, New Japan showing awareness that they've got viewers overseas and that they we've got our own stuff basically in the show, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, you go.
I was going to ask one question. It's pretty interesting this year that they're going to open the G1 in Dallas, Texas, instead of actually in Japan as part of their expansion into the US. What are your thoughts on them kickstarting it in the United States instead of actually, keeping it in Japan?
Yeah, it's an interesting decision to start it in the US instead of just having more kind of big shows in the US.
Considering the likes of John Moxley, Juice Robinson, Jay White are not in that block as well.
No, exactly. I mean, they are on the first night in Dallas. They are giving away a rematch of the final from last year, Okada versus Tanahashi. But you're right. There's actually no American wrestlers except Lance Archer, who nobody's really heard of, on the card for night one. So it'd be interesting to see how full the arena looks. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think it will look pretty full. Dallas is a surprisingly good wrestling town for the South, I would say. So.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I don't know about kind of regional American wrestling, but it's cool that they picked a busy town, and hopefully they'll get a decent crowd. But I guess it makes sense that they would have the first night be the American one out of all of them, because if you look at the dates, all the other nights are like, maybe there's one day off between, maybe two, but not many. So it would be hard to get everyone over to America and back to Japan again. And they're obviously not going to give the final away in America because it's a Japanese wrestling tournament.
Yeah, it's quite odd as well how like night one and night two are like a week apart as well.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah,
it's going to be interesting storylines, kind of taking away maybe a little bit from the idea that the G1 is this grueling thing. But I guess you have to fly halfway around the world between two shows.
Yeah, maybe. But it's 36 days. How many nights? How many nights before we even get to the final, of course?
I guess there must be 10, surely.
18 nights.
Oh, blimey. Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, 10 from each block plus a final.
Yeah. 9 nights.
9. Yeah. It's still it's a long time.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, if you're gonna watch the G1, my advice would be, unless you really, really, really love wrestling, do not try and watch all of every show because you will burn out. I love New Japan and I always try and watch every show, and by the end I'm just like, do you know what? I don't care about this bad luck Fale match. You just get horribly burned out. So think of it like a football tournament, like the World Cup, right? If you're going into the World Cup, you wouldn't necessarily, you watch all of the matches that your country's team perform in, and maybe you're you've got a background from multiple different countries, so you'd watch, the other country's teams. Brod's shaking his head. He's Scottish, so yeah, he doesn't normally get to watch his team in
first and foremost. Secondly, as a football fan, I take great offence to that. Every football fan, like proper football fan, watches every match. Tunisia versus Saudi Arabia. Get in, my son. Never heard of half the Saudi Arabian team, but still watch it. So,
Oh, okay, maybe my analogy falls down. It's like if you're a fair weather football fan.
You should have just gone for the Bad Luck Fale reference. Sometimes you just know you got to say fuck 'em.
Yeah. That's a very good Bad Luck Fale reference. Sometimes you do just have to say fuck 'em.
Yeah, I bet Bad Luck Fale is saying that about you once he will definitely listen to this podcast.
Yeah, do you know what?
He'd be listening like, this is a great G1 preview. Ah, that guy doesn't like me. Fuck him.
Yeah, well, I mean, you joke, but like Bad Luck Fale and all of the Tongans have this weird history of like seeking out very small media places like this and then being like, why'd you say that thing about me? It's like, why they're such good mates with Cultaholic and stuff like that? Because, they watched all their shit before. So if you're listening, Fale, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say about you.
I love you, Fale.
Yeah. I like it when you beat people up at ringside. I just think your singles matches are a little bit dull. And that weird choke slam punch thing he does. Don't think much of that. But we'll come to Fale later. So my advice anyway, if you're watching the G1, would be pick specific people or stories to follow. Watch maybe all of the first few nights. And then if someone likes you, if you like someone, watch all of their matches. Don't try and watch everything.
Well, if someone likes you, like from the G1, you should probably watch their matches as well.
That's true, yes. If
someone likes me,
mate, so many women would be jealous of you if that's the case. He's like the one, the one woman I know who watches New Japan.
Yeah.
Fucking loves Sonata.
The one woman you know. Brilliant.
Yeah. I know. I'm sure there's others.
I thought there'd be a Toru Yano fan.
Sexy Toru Yano.
Sexy Toru Yano.
All right, if he wrestles in the UK, we can get that chant going.
Yeah, if he's on a Rev Pro show coming up, I'm so going to do that.
At the Crystal Palace show, he got a DVD chant, which was quite good, and then he's just showing people his DVDs. But I've heard if you try and buy his DVD from him at Western shows, he won't sell it to you. It's just a prop. He's not trying to sell them there.
Oh, what?
Yeah, disappointing. So for those, maybe we'll come to this later, but for those of you who don't know, Toru Yano, bit of a joker, comes to the ring and tries to sell all the fans this DVD series he does, which is like a comedy series of chaos wrestlers doing stupid shit backstage, basically.
Right, we're going off topic. I'm going to reel you back in.
Boo!
Sorry, we're getting
cover
onto Yano a bit. I think that basically covers a little G1 overview / primer. Like I say, don't try and watch everything. Remember, there's so much wrestling. Just skip to the finishes for matches you're not 100% interested in, because at the finish they normally show replays of all the big spots in the match, and then if it looks cool, you can go back and watch it.
It's good to understand. I mean, I've never watched like the whole G1. I try and keep track of it like every day. You check the spoilers and understand what's going on, and I know the big names, but I'm not someone who's like passionately followed it, so it's good to get some sort of context a bit more to like how that happens and the title shot thing. Can I throw in a couple of things I found out from my research before we did this?
Yeah,
just because it was amazing me. So the G1 goes back to 1991, but before that there was an International Wrestling Grand Prix, and before that an MSG League. In 1983, Hulk Hogan won the International Wrestling Grand Prix, which is, I guess, you tie into the overall New Japan tournament. So I was amazed at Hulk Hogan. That's back when he was allowed to wrestle before he just became Me Big Hulk. Showed he could actually go in Japan and win a big important tournament, which I found very cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I know a little anecdote about that. So he was cutting a promo after he won the G1, saying, and in the promo he said, "I don't care about the WWE belt. I don't care about the WCW belt. The IWGP belt is the only belt that I care about. That's the true wrestling belt, and that's the one I want." And because of that, the New Japan bosses were like, "Do we actually want to put the title on this guy if he's that happy to trash his home promotion for money? Like, how can we be sure he's going to represent us properly?"
So yeah,
interesting little thing there about Hogan. Yeah, it's been going for a very long time.
Hogan trashed something. Well, I never.
No, exactly, for money.
Yeah, 91 matches in total. I just had a count. Oof.
Yeah, it's a lot of wrestling. It didn't used to always be a league style tournament. It's been eliminations and loads of different formats.
When it was the Grand Prix, Hogan won. I think he won. It was a league, but they did some where they were tournaments. I was just researching how it's evolved and changed over time.
It's mad.
it goes back to 1974 if you factor in how the World League evolved into the G1. So
Yeah,
running
possibly wrestling's oldest kind of tournament event thing.
Yeah.
maybe.
So yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a regular occurrence, definitely.
I mean, the last time it was an actual like single knockout tournament was in 1998.
Wow, long
Yeah.
time ago.
And that was only 3 days between the first round and the final. So there you go.
Wow, very short. I like the slog. I know not everyone does, but I do. I quite like. It's like when a World Cup is on. Like I say, it's exciting.
Yeah. Or Wimbledon.
Or Wimbledon.
Which is on and actually relevant right now. I haven't caught up with Wimbledon. I really should watch some Wimbledon as well.
No.
G1. Anyway,
all the G1 matches do have a time limit, so you won't end up in a situation like at Wimbledon. Was it last year or the year before when they had that men's final that went on for like 4 or 5 days?
the men's final.
Was it the men's final?
There's been a couple of times when that's happened with men's games where it's gone to like literally over a course of like 11 hours of play or 20 hours of play.
Yeah. There was one where it ended 70-68. That was a few years ago between John Isner and Nicholas Mahoo. So there you go.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It was amazing.
Either way.
It was a first round match as well. How pointless.
Either way, you won't get that in the G1 because all the matches have time limits except the final.
What is the time limit? Is it like half an hour or 20 minutes?
I think it's 20 minutes for the G1 matches.
Okay.
No, it's 30 minutes.
Is it 30 minutes?
Yeah, I just had a look. The only draw last year was between Okada and Tanahashi, which was 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you're making your predictions.
And then Tanahashi beat Okada in the final, I think. Or were they in the same block? No, they weren't.
No, they were in the same block. Tanahashi beat Kota Ibushi.
That was it, yes. But one of the last matches on the card was Okada Tanahashi, which was the draw.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. So a little bit of G1 history, a little bit of a G1 overview. It's my favourite time of the wrestling year, and I would definitely recommend at least following one person and their story. Yeah, through it. Yeah.
Well, I'll wait for Brod to do a good segue based on that point.
Yeah. So speaking of, I've completely forgot my segue, but never mind. Segue. Don't cut this out.
I'll save this. So I think instead of picking someone to support throughout the tournament, Sam, there are a couple of names that I am big fans of. So I'll be looking forward to your thoughts on how they're going to do throughout this tournament.
Which I think is what we're going to go over in the next section after this break.
I love that we just stole that away from Brod. Good work,
team.
Sam.
It was like a three-way link we did there, I think.
Hey, you. If you like the podcast, then remember to like the Holy Shoot Wrestling Podcast on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Holy Shoot Pod. Do it now!
So, welcome back to our second section of the show. And basically, right now, we're going to go through one by one on the A block and the B block, give our thoughts on each of the competitors. You might also give our thoughts on matches that we're looking forward to, not just Sam, the experienced G1 veteran that he is, but myself and Jason included. And not only that, maybe a few predictions along the way of who gets to the G1 final. So, Sam, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I thought the best thing we do is just go through the blocks and talk about each individual dude. Some of them, we'll go through A block first. Yeah, some of them won't take very long at all. Like the first entrant in A block, Lance Archer. Do either of you know who Lance Archer is?
Yeah, I've seen him. I know he's part of Killer Elite Squad. I've seen him wrestle in the UK at York Hall for Rev Pro. But I don't care about him at all.
No. Rod, do you know who he is?
Not really. I mean, I have heard of him. I knew he was in the Killer Elite Squad and Suzuki Gun, which is like a huge part of the Rev Pro thing. But to be honest, I reckon he doesn't even get a single win.
Does he still have that awful tramp stamp?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
It's the worst tattoo
really grim. Why would you do? Yeah, even worse than Batista's belly button tattoo.
Oh, it's definitely a tattoo off.
Yeah. Between those two. So yeah, Lance Archer. We basically covered it. He's half of Killer Elite Squad. He's in Suzuki Gun. He's normally a tag team wrestler, but now he's in the big singles heavyweight tournament. He's there to get jobbed out. He's not. He probably won't win any matches at all, or he might take a victory off. I don't know, Sonada or someone. Due to interference, maybe.
He's getting 0. I mean, if he does win, he might win in Dallas. Who's he facing in Dallas? Let me have a look. He is facing Will Ospreay in Dallas, and Bastard Super Junior
he's
winners
from Texas as well.
Oh yeah, he'll probably beat Will Ospreay. Fuck. I've predicted that wrong. My predictions. Yeah, but you know, Super Junior winners never do well in these tournaments anyway.
No,
so.
They don't. Yeah, no, you're right.
To be expected.
When we get to Ospreay, I'm looking. He's the one I want to see turn it on. So we'll see how it goes. But we'll talk about him in a minute.
Yeah. So next in the list is Evil in all capitals. I don't know if you can tell from the way I'm saying it that his name's in all capitals.
Evil.
Evil. He is half of the Los Ingobernables de Japan. I'm going to call him LIJ after here. Sorry, Los Ingobernables de Japón. I'm going to call him LIJ. Yeah, Ingobernables. I can't do Spanish. You heard how good I was at French earlier. This is not even going to be a starter. Yeah. So that's about dos cerveza por favor. That's basically all I can manage. Anyway, he's half of LIJ's heavyweight tag team, along with Sonada, who's in the same block. That's a bit weird. He had, if you want to check out a good match he had last year, he had a match with Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental belt at Power Struggle. Jericho obviously won, but I think it was probably one of the more underrated matches New Japan put on last year. He is genuinely a great singles wrestler, even though he does come to the ring with like half of Poundland's Halloween stock. And yeah, he could be the breakout singles guy in this tournament. He's there's also a bit of tension in LIJ. Obviously, at the end of the LIJ matches, they do the LIJ power salute thing. Naito puts his fist up, and they all bump fists with him in the air. At the last show, I think it was the Southern Showdown, they all went for the LIJ salute, but Evil was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that with you guys at the moment." So some tension there.
Ooh. So I love Evil. I think just by name alone, I absolutely love Evil. So, but joking aside, he got 10 points last year. I kind of expect the same, but I think he's going to get like a couple of upset victories. He obviously beat Okada a year or two ago, which was like fucking huge, obviously. And then he had that match with Chris Jericho. So they obviously like him. It's quite interesting that you mentioned the potential LIJ issues and the fact that Sonada is in this block as well. And, you know, Evil vs. Sonada is probably going to be the match to watch out for.
For sure.
For those two gentlemen to see how that plays out. And, yeah, I think it could lead to some interesting storylines. And I think it could lead to both men who are incredibly popular into singles pushes, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I think they need to break up the tag team because I'm pretty sick of seeing Gorillas of Destruction versus Evil and Sonada.
It's Gorillas of Destiny.
Destiny, sorry, not Destruction. God, I'm not doing very well today.
You're the New Japan fan.
I know. Look, I just call them
You're the
GOD.
New Japan.
The New Japan. I'll take that. But yeah, they need to break it up. This could be it. I don't think he's going to leave not Suzuki Gun. I don't think he's going to leave LIJ. But still interesting tension there. So yeah, if you want a Japanese wrestler to follow, then Evil might be your guy.
Oh, he's my guy.
So we'll move on. Bad Luck Fale. We were talking about him earlier. He is a big hoss type dude. He doesn't really do exciting matches, but he is in the Bullet Club, which means there'll be lads showing up all the way through all of his matches to do heinous stuff. Last year, during all of, because Tamatonga and, was Tangaloa in it? No, just Tamatonga was in the G1 last year. And whenever it looked like he might be losing, Bad Luck Fale and all of the other Bullet Club guys turned up to beat up their opponents and get the matches disqualified. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens this year as well.
Yeah, I fucking love Fale. I mean, he is the shittest wrestler in this tournament by far.
Yeah.
But fuck him. That's all I got to say. Fuck him. I just love the fact that he says fuck him.
That's his thing, yeah. Post-match interview. Fale, what did you think about that match? And then he just stands there for like 30 seconds and then goes, fuck him, and walks away. Good stuff.
Yeah. It's the dam of New Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, joking aside, I think he gets more points than Lance Archer, but that's about it.
Yeah. He's not going to have very many exciting matches. Skip through to the end.
Jason, do you have anything to say about Bad Luck Fale?
I think you covered it. As I was just thinking, like, he's gonna maybe do better than Archer, but I know enough about like the Big Hoss, but I've never seen him have a good match or heard anyone say, "Here's a match you need to see featuring him."
No, exactly.
That was your opportunity to just go fuck him and just leave it like that, Jason.
I'll do it later.
Completely missed opportunity.
In fairness, Fale versus Okada should be a good match, but that's because Okada is kind of like AJ Styles in that he could have a good match with like a concrete block or a fridge or a brick, So that's nothing to do with Fale. So moving on to the Golden Star, Kota Ibushi.
Who does wrestle inanimate objects as well.
He does, yeah. Very well known for wrestling. Like, did he have the match with the blow-up doll?
Oh, that pissed off Corny.
Yeah, he did, and he's won the DDT heavy the DDT heavy metalweight title. Ibushi's won it loads of times. He also likes shooting fireworks at himself, which he did outside a Resistance Gallery show. He's a nutter. He hates necks. He hates people's necks. Every match, his goal is, I'm going to kill all the necks in this match. So you could see that from, for example, his match, including his own, I should say. He's not fussy whose neck it is. So that, should explain his match with Naito at Destruction, where he took, at Dominion, where he took that horrible bump, or the Will Ospreay giving him a concussion by elbowing him in the back of the neck. Yeah, he's a madman, Kota Ibushi.
And he won Block B last year, right?
Yes, he did.
A very close block. I was going to say, last year I saw in Block B, 4 people had like 12 points. So was it then based on their record against each other?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's based on who's had the most wins over all the others. I think actually last year the Golden Lovers match came down. That was like the match that decided it for that block, because I think Ibushi and Omega had been like even up until that point. So it was their match on the last night of B block that decided it, and that was an extremely good match. This is almost certainly Kota Ibushi's year. He's probably going to win the whole thing. He's been a free agent for ages, and this is his first year in the G1 as a full-time New Japan only dude. So I think he's definitely one of my picks to win.
Yeah, he's also one of I have a 3-way tie on the A block. He's not 3-way tie, but he's just under my actual pick to win the A block, which might prove controversial. But yeah, Ibushi's a close second for me. I think he's the way it's been like teased throughout the year so far, it seems like Ibushi is gonna possibly win the G1. Yeah,
I reckon. So that's Kota Ibushi. I mean, I think most people have probably heard of him anyway because he is a famous nutter.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that he wants to destroy his own neck, but there you go.
Mate, if you ever want to look up the most Kota Ibushi thing ever, look up his finisher from DDT. I think it's called 20 Sai or 26 Sai, and it literally is, he picks his opponent up into like a vertical drop or a vertical suplex position, and then he just drops them straight on the head. That's the move. He got banned from doing that in New Japan, unsurprisingly. So anyway, moving on from Kota Ibushi's hatred of necks, we next have Kenta, aka Hideo Itami from WWE.
Next.
This is from NXT and 205 Live. But mostly NXT. Let's just remember him on NXT. the good times when he was breaking people's skulls and giving them concussions. So why this is significant is because in Japan, there's a lot more company loyalty than in kind of Western wrestling. I mean, there's obviously a bit of that. If you're a WWE guy like John Cena, you're a WWE guy. But in Japan, it's much more acute. It's the reason why. For example, Neville, when he got out of the WWE, he could have picked any company to work for, and he immediately went back to Dragon Gate, who, while they're a great promotion, not the biggest promotion in the world. So this is significant because Hideo Kenta used to wrestle for Noah, who are like the second biggest company in Japan. They're actually pretty popular. So yeah, that was why it was such an upset to see him immediately come back to wrestle on New Japan. A lot of Noah guys were really pissed off to see him appear there, especially because he kept it so quiet. So he could be great, but equally he could get injured in the first round and have to sit out the rest of the tournament.
I just don't care about him.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest. I think I just thought I saw how little he cared in the last couple of years. I know that might be the WWE thing, but I never saw him be that amazing in the ring, and I'm not that impressed in anything he's done.
The innovator of the GTS.
All I know is he's hurt a lot of people and himself.
Yeah, that's part of the Japanese style, and I think, when he goes to WWE, he should rein it in, but at the same time, he was...
But even the Japanese style, you shouldn't break people's jaws.
No, but if you want to complain about him, then you've got to complain about several others. Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened to him in WWE and the fact that he got lost in the shuffle. Debuted on Raw on the main roster, then was sent straight to 205 Live. No wonder he was disinterested. I think he definitely put on some road weight. When I watched that Fatal 4-Way at the Royal Rumble earlier in the year.
Oh, yeah.
He literally gave no fucks in that match.
I don't blame him. Like, it was, he's thinking, well, could be a bigger star somewhere else, and here he is in New Japan, with a cool looking takeover shirt.
Yeah, that shirt was cool.
I think he's going to have a good tournament. He's been endorsed by Shibata. He won't win it, but he's going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack, like Evil or Sonata.
Yeah, I reckon so. I think this could be. I'm waiting to see basically what his matches are going to be like, because he might just phone it in. Jason's right. It might just be that's his attitude to wrestling in general now. He doesn't really like it.
If he phones it in New Japan, he's going to go nowhere.
Yeah, indeed. But he might be another one of the breakout guys in this tournament. I think a lot of Western fans haven't seen that much of him, because I think a lot of them will have come to New Japan or Japanese wrestling in general, like myself, after he signed for WWE. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe he will impress us. So, the next guy on the card, if you don't know his name, you should, because he's probably the best male wrestler in the world today. His name is Kazuchika
Johnny
Gargano. What? Thanks. He is Kazuchika Okada, aka Japanese Wrestling Jesus. He is the current IWGP Grand Big Heavyweight Champion, and he's also their longest reigning title holder. He is incredible. As I said earlier, he's one of those guys like Bret Hart who could have a great match with like someone standing completely still and not moving.
Except Tom McGee.
No, that Tom McGee match was all right. It's just, yeah, when you have all the flaws pointed out. Anyway, let's not get...
There's a match, Okada versus McGee.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see
create that on, like, Fire Pro Wrestling or on WWE. Just created wrestlers, those two in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, Okada could make Alex Jabali look good, for those of you who watched AEW. So, yeah, he'll be great. It's Okada. He is like, I'm trying to think of a WWE wrestler to draw a parallel with. Johnny Gargano, why not? He's the Johnny Gargano of New Japan.
Yeah. He's a heavyweight, so I probably wouldn't classify Gargano and Okada together. I'd say he's more like the AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Except Okada doesn't choose his matches. Okada is just greatness. Yeah, I think this guy. I did predictions. I kind of messed up my predictions a bit because I think Ibushi might win this bracket, judging by the story. But I had Okada win the most matches, so Okada's going to the final. according to my predictions. But he'll definitely be up there within the top 3. No doubt about it. He's going to look very strong, being the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, of course.
When you said talking about some of the matches we'd love to see, I mean, we're getting towards a couple of the British lads that I'm really looking forward to, like trying to see some of their matches. But Okada versus Will Ospreay would be amazing to see.
Yeah. So what would be interesting about that matchup is they had that match, I think, last year, and it was really, really good. They're also in the same faction, so you get like the kind of interesting face versus face, both of them going at like the clappers to show that they can do it. And I feel like Okada is like a mountain that Ospreay has to climb as well to make it to the.
There's a lot
division.
there, right? It's the same faction. It's champ v champ. There's a lot sort of like
yeah,
to make
exactly.
That one interesting.
It's going to be great, and also
they're both amazing.
Yeah, exactly. They're both wrestling demons.
Yeah, that match is taking place in the Korakuen Hall in Tokyo on Saturday, July 20th. So wake up to that one. But the match I'm looking forward to most is clearly Okada versus Bad Luck Fale. No, I'm joking. I'm really looking forward to seeing Okada versus Evil again, just because I think that makes a kind of weird, interesting G1 rematch. But obviously the last night, and I think this is going to be the main event of this night on Saturday, August 10th, night 17, the last night of the A block, Okada versus Ibushi, and I think that is going to decide your winner.
For sure.
The A block for that is the final. That is the semi-final.
Yeah, the A block final, isn't it? For sure.
Yeah.
Both of those men are insanely good at wrestling. So that kind of logically brings us on to the next guy in this block, Britain's own Will Ospreay. He is currently the IWGP Junior title holder. He's probably the best junior heavyweight in the world. That's what they call cruiserweights in Japan, for those of you who didn't know.
Except Shingo's not one.
Oh, yeah, except Shingo. But what more is there to say about this guy, really?
Well, I think, as you say, it's Big Billy Brexit and Beast with Seth Rollins.
Oh, yes, those are the other two things I've got in the notes. Yeah, he's had a big argument with Seth Rollins lately, but Seth Rollins did apologise.
I mean, Seth Rollins has a bigger bank account, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. That's what I clearly took away from this Twitter war. That I did not care about for one instance.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to Ospreay, interesting, because the reason I mentioned your Big Billy Brexit thing is because I'm sure it's probably happened lots, but I've never seen Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr., they are both like the very opposite ends of the UK political spectrum. So that just appeals to me as well. Very different styles, but both amazing. I
think not only are they at opposite ends of the political spectrum, they're at opposite ends of like the New Japan spectrum.
Is Will Ospreay a Brexiteer?
Yeah, man, he's a Tory. And obviously Zack Sabre Jr. is like a socialist dude. He recently beat Yoshihashi at Super Showdown. This is Zack Sabre Jr. now. He beat Yoshihashi at Super Showdown, and in his closing promo, he said, "This belt's going to be buried with me," talking about the Rev Pro belt. This belt's going to be buried with me next to Karl Marx, he said.
Guys, sorry. All I got to say about Will Ospreay is, in the words of Bad Luck Fale, fuck him.
Whoa, Brod's dropped his mic as well. I mean, he's wrong. But we're talking about Will Ospreay. You're right. Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre. Where's he? He's gone.
He's literally left. Ospreay v Sabre. I mean, Big Billy Brexit. You say the Tory. That doesn't mean he's definitely like pro Brexit. But it nicely leads into the other match I'd love to see. Ospreay v Zack Sabre Jr. because they're a real clash of styles, which will make it so intriguing.
Yeah, exactly. Completely opposite ends of like the wrestling spectrum. Will Ospreay is very flashy, jumpy, and flippy and stuff, whereas Zack Sabre Jr. grounds his opponent down and.
And you may remember, like when I don't watch all the New Japan shows, but we watched Wrestle Queendom, and they were my two favourite matches from Wrestle Kingdom, not Queendom.
Yeah.
About Eve still, Wrestle Kingdom, and they were the two best matches on the night of me, and they were such contrasting styles. So that's going to be to see those two then in a ring together. I'm sure I can probably find it.
So political jokes aside, and if you did vote Brexit, it's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, not my cup of tea, but. I don't think British politics is anyone's cup of tea right now, to say the least.
No.
But Yeah, I don't think he. I was using this as an excuse to get a glass of water, by the way. I don't think. I don't think he'll do well. Just because of the previous history, I think he'll get 2-3 wins, but that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Will Ospreay will get a couple of big wins, but not that many because he's still a junior in this block.
Yeah.
I think actually one of the wins that he could get might be over Zack Sabre Jr. because then they could have that match potentially at a Royal Quest or at another Rev Pro show or something. Because some of the Rev Pro matches do make it to New Japan World.
So what have I put down on my predictions? This makes great audio. I have Will Ospreay winning that one. That match is happening night 11 on Tuesday, July 30th. So that's morning 11 for us in the UK.
Bunk off work or something.
Yeah. Or maybe it'll be on before work. You never know. But yeah, that's happening then. I think he will beat Zack Sabre Jr. He'll probably beat Bad Luck Fale by disqualification or something.
Yeah.
I said Lance Archer won't get a win, but if he does, it'll be on the opening night in Texas against Will. So
yeah,
I think that might. I think Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer could be very interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I think that'll be the one kind of potentially a breakout upset type match on the first night because Lance Archer's from Texas. Will Ospreay doesn't really need that many wins in the G1 because he's a junior. He looks strong purely by being in the tournament at all. This is the first year he's entered, so he doesn't really need to win many matches. Yeah, so could be an interesting one. If you like seeing Will Ospreay getting beaten up a lot, then probably watch his matches in this tournament. So moving on then, we've touched on him a little bit. My personal favorite Japanese or New Japan wrestler, but probably won't win the tournament, Zack Sabre Jr. I've referred to him here as Britain's own Gangly Tangly Octopus Man, and he is also the current Rev Pro champion, which is pretty exciting. So I don't know if people who pin him get the time, or people who pin him get a chance for the Rev Pro title, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. He also calls his opponent a dickhead during matches, which I fucking love.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, like, I don't get psyched about British guys in New Japan for some reason. So, except for Ospreay, obviously, and the amazing stuff he does. But yeah, I think Zack Sabre Jr. could have some good matches. I'm really looking forward to him versus Kenta, just because it might upset Jason. Yeah. That's happening on August 10th. What other matches I think could be very good? We've touched on the Will Ospreay bout. I think any match Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be pretty good.
Yes,
he's one of the best technical wrestlers in the world.
And he did very well last year. He was one of those guys on joint points at the top of Group B. So you never know; he could do even better.
So a potential upset that I think we might see is Zack Sabre Jr. pinning Okada. He could be one of the few matches that he beats Okada in. Every match they've had has been super close. And also, he beat Okada in the New Japan Cup last year to get a title shot. They need to set up for a big match for Royal Quest. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
We should just explain to people, just in case people don't know what Royal Quest is, Sam. So Royal Quest is a very big deal to us UK fans. It's going to be at the end of August, and it is a very big New Japan show in London. One of our, it's about a 10,000-seater arena, I believe.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's a big show.
A big event, and they're going to want to put some of the big UK boys on that show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's notable because they've already confirmed that Tanahashi, Okada, and Naito are appearing. So this could be where we get the setup for that match. Yeah. Also, Zack Sabre Jr. doesn't like warm beer. In the post-match interviews, they at New Japan, it's presented a bit more like a sport. So after the match, all the wrestlers go backstage and they do a little interview with the press, kind of like AEW does, but it's a bit more kayfabe. And in Will Ospreay's in Zack Sabre Jr.'s post-matches, he basically complains about the temperature of the beer and calls his opponent a dickhead, and that's the whole promo. So definitely watch them; they're all excellent. So moving on, we talked about him a little bit. Sanada, I should say that's all in capitals as well, even though I haven't written it like that in the notes. So
Properly then.
Sanada, There we go.
That woke me up.
And everyone else listening, sorry everyone. He's the other half of LIJ's tag team. He doesn't talk or say anything, which means his post-match interviews, it's basically just a camera watching him walk past the board where they do the interviews, and that's all. He had probably the best Yano match. We'll come to Yano later on in when we cover B block. But yeah, there was an excellent moment where he does this move called the Paradise Lock. It's total bollocks. It wouldn't work in real life. It's like he twists your arms and legs up so that you're pinned by your own body weight and you can't move unless someone like kicks you or moves you around. He put Rocky Romero in the Paradise Lock last year because Rocky Romero's in Chaos. It's a different faction. And then while he was lying on the floor, Sanada put the commentary headset on him so he could still take part in the commentary, which was quite good. It was fun hearing Rocky being like, someone help me on commentary. So that might happen this year as well. That'd be quite good. He's pretty solid, probably finish about the middle of the block. His match versus Evil is going to be the one to watch.
Yeah, weirdly, I don't have him winning too many matches, but I think I'm wrong in my predictions again. I think you're right. I think he's going to finish middle of the block. I don't think they want to distinguish him and Evil too much in terms of like win-loss records. So yeah, middle of the block, him versus Evil, which is on just for the listener at home. This is great audio. Great audio. Great audio. When is it?
Evil versus Sanada, Thursday, July 18th. And it's at Karakoan as well, so that's going to be a nuts show.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a great day. The only time Bad Luck Fale will have a great match against Okada. Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr., Ibushi versus Ospreay.
Yeah. Ibushi versus Ospreay, that's going to be another cracking match after their match at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, hopefully neither of them get a concussion this time.
Great opener, Wrestle Kingdom. So yeah, that's another. Yeah, July 18th is looking like a tasty day.
Yeah. And then obviously we just mentioned him last but not least in A block. We have Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan. He is, if you haven't heard of him, he's kind of like John Cena, except he's kind of a bit less boring. Although actually, no, he does the same kind of match. John Cena's matches, he gets beaten up for 75% of the match, and then he makes a comeback at the end, hits his big moves and wins. And that's kind of what Tanahashi does as well.
So John Cena's not boring, but apart from that, like...
No, maybe that wasn't an unfair criticism.
I mean, Jinder Mahal is boring. John Cena's not.
No, fair.
I rather watch the John Cena match than the Hiroshi Tanahashi match at the moment, which is kind of strange. Which is kind of strange. I'm not saying past. I'm saying right now, which is kind of strange that I would say that because Tanahashi had a great match with Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. I gave that 5 stars.
It was a good match.
Since then, injuries, and he looked very slow in recent shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously covering up for the fact that he cannot go.
Would they based on that pod? Would they use him to maybe make a couple of stars?
I don't know. Like I had him in my top 3 for some reason, and I kind of regret it. It's just because of name value alone. I'm like, Tanahashi's huge. He's going to be up there and have double digits in terms of points. But I think that's a very valid point. He could be used to make a couple of more stars. And New Japan, they lost a lot of stars in the past year. Gato is a very good booker, and he'll use that opportunity to build stars. If not, Tanahashi will have to pull out the tournament because I don't think he can go to the extent that they want him to go.
No,
he just looks very slow. I will say this though: could we expect Chris Jericho to interfere in one of these matches, considering what happened at Dominion?
Now that is a question. I wouldn't be. Yeah, maybe towards the end of the tour, we might see Chris Jericho running in on a Tanahashi match. What matches has he got towards the end? Versus Will Ospreay on Saturday, August the 10th, or maybe against Wednesday, August the 7th, near the end, he's against Bad Luck Fale. That might be one that Jericho does a run in on. I don't know.
Ooh.
If not a
Ooh.
run-in, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like video packages that get played during the match that distract him and make him cost matches and stuff like that as well. But yeah, you're right. He's so injured and he hasn't had a break in about 10 years. So he's literally falling apart. He like takes enough time off to be able to just about get better. But in this respect, he is not John Cena. In that, yeah, he comes back from injury early, but not because he should or because he can. So he's actually had to change his finisher completely. He's got a new finisher. I think it looks kind of like a standing sling blade, but don't quote me on that. It doesn't look good, basically. It's not as good as the high fly flow. So yeah, not especially excited. I mean, I've got in the notes he'll probably deliver on great matches, which he might do, particularly against Okada. But yeah, he'll be a fun one to watch, and the crowd will be hot for him. But I wouldn't expect amazing things from him this year.
The only thing amazing about him right now is his hair.
Yeah, he does have good hair.
I think my potential match of the A block really is between him and Sonada, purely to see who has the better hair game.
Oh, in the hair off. Sonada changed his hair at Dominion as well. He doesn't have the big hair anymore. So it will be a hair off. He might do it again.
Yeah. I hope he brings back the big hair. I'm trying to find where that match is, just in case people wanted to watch the hair off. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Sonada is happening on Saturday, July 27th. Night 9.
There we go. Bang in the middle. So I think we're going to take a short break now. That's the full load of A block. Unless, did any of you guys have anything you wanted to talk about from that? I think we went over basically everything, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe so. And I think we're looking at Ibushi and Okada at the top, but I would put Zack Sabre maybe getting in the mix.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll finish top 3. He gets pushed a lot in New Japan, and rightly so. He's quite popular. One thing about Zack Sabre Jr., no Taka Michinoku this year, which is a bit disappointing. So we're not going to get that excellent promo about coming over here. But hey-ho, we'll get over it. So that's A block. So we're going to have a short break now, and then once we've had the short break, we're going to come back and talk about Block B, and then maybe make a few small predictions for the tournament and stuff like that. But yeah, back shortly.
This podcast is affiliated with the WWL Meetup Group. WWL, or Watch Wrestling London, get together with many fans to watch pay-per-view replays on Monday nights and attend live events across London, be it WWE, Progress, Rev Pro, Eve, and many more. It's a great way to watch wrestling with friendly people, and all are welcome to join. You can find out more at watchwrestling.london, or just Google Watch Wrestling London and you'll find the meetup page.
Well, that was the A block covered, and now we are on to the B block. Sam, you wanted to start with Jeff Cobb.
Yes, Jeff Cobb. He's like a big tank boy. He is indie wrestling powerhouse. He won PWG's Battle of Los Angeles tournament last year, and he also held the Ring of Honor Television Championship for ages as well. Had some cracking matches as that. So he's one to watch. He probably won't win that much, but he's definitely capable of delivering on the good matches. So he might be another breakout star like Evil. New Japan have been pushing him a lot when he's appeared for them, so we'll see.
I've seen a bit of him. I don't get the buzz, to be honest, but maybe I'm just missing it.
I kind of have that same sentiment. I don't really get Jeff Cobb. Cobb. But you know, they're looking to expand into America. Maybe they'll push him. Maybe he'll finish middle of the group.
Yeah, he's definitely a much bigger American indie dude than over here. He doesn't really get over here very much. So I mean that's why I don't also know very much about him. So moving on, we have Hiroki Goto. Hiroki Goto, I bet people probably don't actually know who he is. He's like a New Japan Pro OG. He's been with them for years and years and years.
The Pro G. The
Pro G. I nearly said pro wrestling, but I meant to say OG. We'll go with But yeah, nobody's heard of him, but he usually has a good match in whatever card he's on and whatever position he's in. He's a member of Chaos. He held the Never Openweight Championship for fucking ages last year, and he had some cracking matches with that. So yeah, we'll see. He's one. If you're not sure whether to watch one of his matches or not, I'd probably watch it. That's the way I'd look at it.
He had a fantastic match with Kenny Omega last year, if I remember correctly. I think Dave Meltzer gave it 5 stars. Yeah, it's he is a stalwart. He'll be middle of the road again. Like, he will never be a main eventer, but he's definitely a good wrestler to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So the next guy, I think a lot more people in the UK should have heard of him. The Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. He is the human brick. He's literally made of concrete. If you've ever seen him, he's like a cube but made of flesh. And his gimmick is he hits people really fucking hard. He's the current Never Openweight champion. He won it from Taichi at Dominion. So there's going to be some blood between them. I actually think their match is on one of the final cards, August 11th.
I've met the guy. He's a lovely guy. I had a long conversation with him.
Oh,
Go on about that conversation, Jason.
Well, basically, I went up to him at York Hall and asked him to get a picture for my friend. It was just like, £5! £5! And that's the only English I heard from him. But my friend was a huge fan and pretty much cried after getting his picture with him. And that's Mike, who's been on the podcast before.
Yeah, Mike is a big Ishii fan.
I'm very much looking forward to his match with Taichi again, just because they had a cracking match. I think it was my match of the night at New Japan Dominion, a show which I gave the A grade to, A minus. Can't remember. I think it was A minus, but yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. That's happening on Sunday, August 11th, along with Juice Robinson and John Moxley, which is a match to look out for too.
Another one to look out for, yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you don't know who Ishii is, if you don't know, get to know. He doesn't have a very impressive or flashy moveset, but he still delivers the goods. So
talking about dream matches, just the way I know you're going to lead this into next, but Ishii and John Moxley could be very interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a cracker, that one. Both incredibly brutal, hard-hitting, brawler-type dudes from very different countries with even within that sphere, very different styles. So
that
match is happening on Friday, July 19th and night 6.
That's probably one to look out for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, that does then logically lead on to the next entrant into the B block. Probably the entry that I think most of us non-Japanese fans are the most excited about. John Moxley, a.k.a. Dean Ambrose. I mean, do I need to explain who he is? You probably know who he is.
I think anyone listening to this show probably knows who that is.
I don't, like...
He's like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins' crazy mate, but he left the WWE because they made him crazy in a weird way, and now he's in New Japan and he's crazy in a good way. So lads, what matches?
My kind of crazy.
I'm less aware of a lot of the guys in the B block, and I already said about him and Ishii would be good. I wouldn't mind seeing him beat the shit out of Jay White. That'd be quite fun.
Oh yeah, yes.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
I think the match I'm looking forward to most, weirdly, is on Sunday, August 11th, the one that I just mentioned, in Budokan, Tokyo, him versus Juice Robinson. I think there's a great story to tell, like maybe some symmetry. Juice Robinson gets a win back, setting up a third match between the two for the US Championship. Good excuse to set up a rematch. So I think that could be good. I think I have a narrative going in my head that Juice Robinson, because he's so traumatized from Moxley's beating in Moxley's debut show a few weeks ago at the Best of the Super Juniors final, I think Juice Robinson will lose a load of matches and get redemption on the final night against John Moxley. So for me, that is probably the match I'm looking forward to most in Block B.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a brutal match either way. It's basically a blood feud, that one. So, I mean, I think basically every John Moxley match in this block is going to be cracking. I think maybe a better question would be, who do you think... Moxley's not going to win the block. I think we can all agree that. So who's going to beat him?
I could see Bullet Club would help Jay White actually go over, I guess. I mean, that'd be one thing, right? Even as much as I'd like to not see it, I can see that. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not so much an expert on some of these guys. Looking at who's in there, like who else
Yeah,
could be.
I think John Moxley will get off to like a fiery start. I think he'll win his first 4 matches, maybe. I think Naito will beat him.
Yeah.
Just because I think Naito. We'll get onto him in a bit, but yeah, I think Naito will beat him. With that, he's a.
Naito's a big name.
Yeah, he's the most popular wrestler in Japan.
Yeah, I think Jay White could beat him. Like, they want to promote him as, he is a former IWGP heavyweight champion. They will want to protect him somewhat, as well as him being leader of the Bullet Club. And in the words of Bad Luck Fale, fuck him. I think John Moxley finishes second in this group.
He could finish second. So one other match I could see him losing is against Yano. I know that it's a stupid match, but Yano normally picks up a few upset victories, and I wouldn't be surprised if they tell a story like, oh, Moxley doesn't take Yano seriously, and then Yano low blows him and rolls him up for the win. That wouldn't surprise me. He's definitely going to be one of the top guys to watch in this tournament.
Yeah, he's going to leave with 10 or 12 points, I think. I think he'll lose. I mean, I'd say he'll lose to Robinson, White, and Naito. I think that's where he's going to lose. Maybe to Shingo. Shingo is booked really strong.
We'll see. Yeah. So if you like Dean Ambrose, definitely watch John Moxley in this tournament, because it's going to be like without all the stupid shit he had to do in WWE, basically. So then we'll move on to the most popular wrestler in Japan and leader of the LIJ faction, Tetsuya Naito. He is really big guy. Hasn't held the top title, and he's currently the Intercontinental Champion, which he started caring about. His history is he normally doesn't want the Intercontinental belt because it's not the top belt and he hates it. So in the past he's like come to the ring and thrown it around, but he's saying he wants to be a double champion. So he does care about holding the IC belt, because that means he can then become a double champion by winning the G1. That's going to be the story in this.
And he's older than I thought. I figured he was like young, but he's 37, so he's like in theory his peak wrestling point.
Yeah. I think he wins this block quite handsomely. To be honest, I think he wins every single match.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
I mean, the reason, my logic behind that is clearly they're telling the story back in Dominion that he's held the Intercontinental title. He cares about it, as you said. But he wants to become like the first New Japan double champion, if I'm correct. So he wants to be the first person to hold the world title and the Intercontinental title, and it's a strong possibility.
Yeah, this could be
the way they pushed him in the last 2 years. He's incredibly popular. He has to win at some point, and I think he does win in a Wrestle Kingdom 14.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. He's not the flashiest wrestler. He normally has good matches, but like there's other people in this tournament who probably have matches you might consider more exciting, but he is very, very good at telling a story and building up drama.
I didn't realise he'd actually won it twice in the past as well.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
he won it 2 years ago, didn't he?
You could definitely see him doing it again based on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
he had a cracking Wrestle Kingdom main event with Okada a couple of years ago as well. He's a really good wrestler. I really enjoy watching him. He's very charismatic. One day he might sign with AEW. But joking.
I think he has one of the most interesting kind of long-term stories in New Japan, in terms of like his previous time as like super babyface, the Stardust Genius, before kind of turning and becoming more of a heel. And then if you're interested in hearing that backstory, it's really good. I'd recommend there's a guy on YouTube called Showbuckle, and he does some really good like deep dives into wrestlers' backstories. His one on Tetsuya Naito is really, really good. So I'd recommend checking that out, as well as all the other stuff. That's Naito. Any matches particularly looking forward to other than Moxley Naito with him?
I think most Naito matches are worth, just because he's such a good character worker. It works really with me. Anything with Juice Robinson is great, obviously. I'm trying to look through. Yeah, I think Goto could be a very good match.
Yeah. They've both been around for a long time. So
who's he facing on the first night in July 13th? Toriano. Okay,
yeah,
maybe
that was a joke.
yeah.
So moving
Naito
on anyway.
wins.
Well, yeah,
The end.
we'll come to Yano later. So we've talked about him already a little bit. Next in this block is Juice Robinson, who, I mean, you probably don't know him from NXT, but he used to be called CJ Parker. He didn't really make it in WWE, and he went to join the Young Lion system in Japan, which is like their developmental, and that benefited him hugely. He's actually at the moment probably the most loved foreign babyface by the Japanese people. And he obviously has history with Moxley because Moxley beat him for the US Championship at Dominion. A little bit of history I didn't know. When he was in NXT, in the John Moxley, in the interview he did on New Japan 1972 recently, which is their English language news website, he said that, yeah, Juice Robinson was like mates with him and Seth and used to ride with them in the car and stuff. So there's a bit more history even than that between the two of them. They're kind of like old friends. So I wonder if we'll see that come out in the G1.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be, as I said, the match I'm looking forward to most in B block under John Moxley is his redemption, which I think will happen in night 18 over John Moxley, and I think that sets up a US Championship match somewhere down the line, maybe even Wrestle Kingdom, because John Moxley's going to be very busy from September onwards. So
yeah. I think another breakout match from this block might be Juice versus Shingo as well. They both have quite similar kind of styles, and yeah, both capable of putting on really, really good matches. So that'd be one to watch.
Yeah, I think Juice will lose a load of matches.
Yeah.
Not because they don't want to push him. I think it's like losing in a way that tells a story, and I think the way that. I mean, he did win that 6-man tag at Dominion, so maybe I'm wrong, but I think here the story is how he's going to change in character after that John Moxley match.
Yeah. I think that was what happened to him last year as well. He lost loads and he was cutting loads of promos about how he needs to do better, and then he pulled it back at the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a similar story with him this year.
Instead of cutting loads of promos, he cut his hair.
Yes, he did. Now it looks like he smells better. When he used to have dreadlocks, and it made him look like he smelled terrible all the time.
Dreadlocks do smell terrible.
Yeah, they do.
You don't wash it properly, and it's a shame because they're kind of cool, but nah.
So, from one great hairstyle to another, maybe not so great hairstyle, but excellent stuff entering the ring. The next entrant in the G1 is Holy God Emperor Taichi, who is current Never Openweight Championship and a member of Suzuki-gun. He is a mega heel. He comes to the ring and he sings his own theme song in like this horrible, smug way.
My favorite.
It's such a bad theme song as well. It's like a weird opera tune. It's all in Japanese.
It is basically an arrogant Phantom of the Opera meets Undertaker meets bad Japanese karaoke. It is a campus thing on New Japan, in my opinion. I love it. Yeah,
he's very cool. So he's not going to have amazingly flashy matches. He is the Never champion, so lots of people will be after pinning him. Particularly Hiroki Goto. The Never Openweight Championship is kind of like Goto's belt in a way. He's held it loads of times. So
you could say his go-to belt.
His go-to belt, indeed. Well done. So another story that we might see in this, there's a very old wrestler who retired last year in New Japan called Takashi Iizuka. He used to be like a super baby face, and then there was a mad storyline where he communed with an evil spirit and got this iron glove that contains the spirit in it, and that made him go mad and turn into this crazy dude that bites people and beats up the crowd and stuff like that. After his retirement match, in which he beat a load of Chaos members helped by Taichi, he left the glove in the ring and Taichi picked it up and has been carrying it around ever since. He hasn't used it yet, but since he picked up the glove, he started doing way better. So is this going to be the tournament where he uses the glove? What's going to happen?
I hope so. I just want to see him do some weird shit.
I'm intrigued
the
by the
evil
glove.
spirit glove. The evil spirit glove is one of the weirdest I mean, Taichi's a weird ass fucking dude, but I love it.
Yeah, it's probably the closest that New Japan comes to doing like a broken Matt Hardy type storyline.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Or he just won't use it at all, because the other thing New Japan like doing is not referencing things for fucking ages, and then after like a year of him carrying the glove, it becomes a significant thing. So yeah, we'll see. Either way, I mean, I'd check out a few of his early matches, see if you like him, and then maybe watch more. But he's probably not the most important person to follow either. Taichi.
He definitely isn't. But I think the one match that it's definitely worth touching upon is, as I said earlier, is his match with Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah.
As you said, Goto is also worth looking at as well.
I think the match with Ishii is on the last B block day.
Yeah.
Just 11th, so it's kind of like another sort of mini final. Their feud has been really good. So yeah, hopefully that'll turn out good. So moving on from that, we're down to the last three guys now. I know it seemed like a slog. Get used to it, because this is the G1. Shingo Takagi, ex-Dragon Gate superstar who left and joined LIJ last year. He's already had several Match of the Year candidates, most notably his match against Will Ospreay for the Best of the Super Juniors final, which was like a cruiserweight masterpiece. I think it was an extremely good match.
Got 5 3/4 from Meltz.
3/4. So Will Ospreay's officially broken the star gauge then.
Yeah, it's the highest rated match this year, apparently.
Oh wow! So there you go. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Shingo's technically a junior heavyweight, but he probably won't be considered one for much longer after this. He is notably larger than all of the other juniors in New Japan. So yeah, he'll have exciting matches. I don't know about any one particular one, because he's not in the same block as any of the other smaller guys in the tournament. But yeah, his match against Moxley should be interesting, and Juice.
Is he like a potential dark horse winner, or is he a middle of the card guy?
I think he's a potential dark horse. He's not going to win, but I think he's going to potentially do surprise people with his matches.
Yeah, he was unbeaten before his loss to Ospreay in New Japan, I think, if I'm correct, Sam.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, so they obviously are pretty high on him, higher than most junior heavyweights. So I think he might, unlike Ospreay, I think he might be the one that will pick up more wins. I mean, dark horse, but middle of the card in the group at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
But he will lose matches here. I think my only concern is how many matches he does lose, and how will that kill his momentum, because if anything, he should have gone over Will Ospreay, in my opinion.
Yeah, it would have been a kind of a bigger victory, and Will Ospreay did already have the junior belt. But I think he's also part of the reason he might not have won is because they want to move him up to heavyweight. He's definitely ready.
Yeah. Oh, he was ready before he even went into the Super Juniors.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So second last, Jay White. He is Knife Pervert. That's just my name for him, because he does look like a kind of slimy, sleazy, creepy dude. He's really pale, and he's got like.
He is a Baron Corbin of New Japan.
He is the Baron Corbin of New Japan. That's
a good description, actually.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. So he famously moved from New Zealand to Japan so he could join the New Japan dojo and go through the Young Lion system, even though he didn't speak any Japanese, which means he's kind of well respected there. He used to suck really badly, but I think in the last year he started having actually really good matches. That's in ring. I think on the mic he's really good. I like his promos and stuff.
I still think he lacks the charisma and what the it fact to lead the Bullet Club compared to the previous leaders, but
yeah.
Absolutely.
He's okay. I think he's all right in the ring, but yeah, I've never been blown away.
So this is my fantasy booking. I want Bullet Club to interfere in his match with John Moxley. Except they work with John Moxley, and John Moxley becomes the leader of the Bullet Club. And it suit that Death Rider gimmick too.
Yeah, it would. And he would make sense to be leader as well.
The problem with the Bullet Club in the current era, the Switchblade era, is a blade is not a gun.
No, you're right. A blade is not a gun.
And that annoys me.
But he couldn't change his name to Switch Gun. Jay White.
You just change your gimmick slightly to something even more violent than a knife.
Yeah,
you know.
true,
But
true.
anyway, so that doesn't work for me. Jay White doesn't work for me. It's a shame because, as you said, he's a good promo. He's
Yeah,
good in the ring. Like, there's nothing wrong with him.
I
It's
like
just,
the.
it's just to have no connection. It's just like a Jay White match. When really, he's really fucking good.
Yeah. I liked his program with Tanahashi last year for the IWGP belt. He debuted a new finisher, and when he was asked what it's called, he said, "Oh, it's called the TTO." And people went, "Oh, what does that stand for?" And he goes, "Tanahashi tap out." So he named his that's a heel move, naming a move after your opponent.
Yeah, I do like his finisher, the Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, that's cool as well. He does it better than Bray Wyatt does the Sister Abigail, even though they're basically the same move, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much quicker. It's just like
Yeah, vicious
it's-
snap.
yeah, it's like a flick of a knife, if you will.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
his matches will be fun to watch for interference. Watching the beginning or the end will probably have some fun moments.
Yeah, I put him in the top 3 of this group. I think it'll be Naito, Moxley, White as the top 3.
Yeah. So, last but absolutely not least, my boy, Toru Yano, the Sublime Master Thief. How do you describe Yano? He's a comedy wrestler. I think that's the easiest way to describe him. I would strongly recommend not skipping a single Yano match. It's like having a nice, refreshing glass of water after you've drunk 12 pints of Guinness. It's like Guinness is nice, but you don't want to drink 12 pints in a row. So yeah, he's like a nice break from all the brutal heavyweight, smashing action. He undoes the turnbuckle pads. That's his thing, and hits people with them, even though it doesn't really do anything. And he usually wins by punching his opponent in the nards and then rolling them up.
So this is one of the comedy guys. I think is it him when he hangs out with the guy that wears like a helmet? That's part of the same 6-man team. They just come across as complete comedy jobbers. Do you remember that one? I mean, there's one guy that has like a sort of almost like a rubber helmet that he wears to the ring as well alongside him. I'm sure that's part of the same 6-man team of complete silliness.
Maybe. I'm not sure who you mean, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'll look him up. You keep
have a look, and I'll keep talking about how great Yano is. He used to be a serious wrestler. He's one of the people who has like a legitimate amateur wrestling background. He won loads before he became a professional, and now he doesn't really do serious matches anymore. Although last year, for the first kind of 3 matches, he made a big deal about actually trying this year instead of cheating, and then he lost his second or his third match, and then was just like, fuck this, I'm going back to kneeing people in the balls and winning by cheating and stuff. His match with all the matches he's ever had with Kenny Omega have been absolutely excellent. Don't miss a Yano match. He's in chaos, but he wrestles like a heel. He tries to sell people DVDs. I don't know what else I can really say. He's great. And his matches will all be short. If you look at his matches from last year, they're all less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Apparently except his match against Zack Sabre Jr. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think he's a funny guy. I just wouldn't put too much stock into him. So, he's going to finish near the bottom of the group.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's not going to do well, but his matches definitely will be entertaining.
It is more like how to describe it. I think the Guinness and water reference is probably the best thing about it. It's just like, time for some comedy. Just lighten it up, because sometimes, you have 91 matches in G1. I think you need a break now and again.
Exactly, and Yano is definitely that break.
Yep.
So so Yano versus Moxley. I'm looking forward to. But yeah,
I don't think Moxley will enjoy that match.
No, I don't think he will. I think Yano might piss him off quite a lot, which is why it'll be a good one to watch.
Legit piss him off. He'd be like, "This is what I want to avoid in WWE."
I can't believe I'm wrestling this gimp.
I wonder what he actually thinks. John Good, the guy who plays John Moxley.
Oh, is that his name?
Yep, that's his actual name.
John Good.
What are you guys thinking then for this group? So it's Naito probably winning it, Moxley sort of potentially second, Jay White third, or could be something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I got as my top 3, and
I think Ishii will be top of the mid card, if that's kind of a thing.
Yeah, so, I think it'll be Ishii Ishii or Shingo, 4th, 5th, I think. Goto 6th.
Yeah.
And then the rest.
This
Who knows?
block is going to be one like like B block last year, where the top guys are all very, very, very close together, and then all the other guys are much further down because they've had to lose loads.
I think Naito runs away with it.
Oh, you
I know
reckon?
they want drama. I think they want drama. I know they want drama at the end, but yeah, I can't see. I mean, if there is, then it'll be like Naito Moxley at the end, and I think they would tease Moxley being in the final. But I think the story here is going to be like Naito going for the 2 belts, and I think, especially with Wrestle Kingdom being over 2 nights, you could have the Intercontinental title on the first night as a main event. World champ, dying world championship on the second night. And you know, the other stories are obviously Kota Ibushi. He wants to win the world title. So I think Ibushi versus Naito is potentially the final, which that's a Dominion rematch for him, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. That was the match with that botch in it.
Yeah. So, could be a perfect time to have another rematch G1 Climax final.
Yeah, make everyone really, 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 really scared for their health.
So who do you think is going to win overall? I think it's Naito. What about you guys?
I think it's probably Naito, and if it's not Naito, it's going to be Ibushi.
Jason?
God, I mean, my heart wishes it was like Ospreay, or Zack Sabre, because I'm big fans of both guys. But you're right, it's probably going to be Naito, and I guess Moxley would be a real dark horse, wouldn't he?
So
yeah.
I mean, my dream final would probably be Evil versus Taichi over some Dark Spirits, but why aren't they in the same block together? Why aren't they in the same block together?
Yeah, I know.
Just put
it's too much of a big match. They want to save it for later.
If that's at Wrestle Kingdom, hey Gato, I know you're listening. Please book Taichi versus Evil.
Main event of Wrestle Kingdom Day 2, the big one.
Glove on a pole match.
Yeah, special singles glove on a pole.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the I guess that's the G1. Watch it. It's I don't know how you wrap this up. We've talked about our predictions. We've been through all the people. I've talked about how you should watch the G1.
Sam, just I guess to wrap it up would be, this is going to be all on New Japan World, so that's the way you've got to watch it, right?
Yes. Yeah, so if you're thinking of signing up for New Japan World, you're going to want to do it right now, because in Japan, the way they build monthly subscription stuff is mental. Instead of it just like a normal subscription where you buy it and then your subscription recurs on the same day the following month, they just have a billing day where they bill everyone, and then so if you sign up, and for New Japan, that's on the 1st of the month. So if you sign up at the end of the month, you'll be billed for the last week of the month, and then you'll be billed again for the next month. So the best time to sign up is right at the start of the month, as close to the 1st as possible, to save money. It's 999 yen, which is about 6 or 7 quid, so it's not that expensive.
Yeah. I think it's definitely worth subscribing just to watch all of these great matches. Yeah.
And Sam, I mean, I'd love to, like, in a future episode, have you talk about the factions a bit more. I guess once the G1's going, maybe explain a bit more about the teams and stuff going on within it. But
yeah, that's
one for another episode.
Yeah, for sure. It would be like a huge episode if we started talking about faction history and things like that. But I think the G1 would be a good introduction, because the factions really do matter. They're kind of like camps in UFC or MMA, people you train with all the time.
Or Shield and no, I'm joking.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or like Shield, or like D-Generation X, or whatever. Factions are cool. They just are.
Yeah, like Right to Censor and JBL's Cabinet.
Yeah, and the main event Muscle Men.
Yeah. Oh no.
No, unfortunately, there's no factions like that in New Japan. So yeah, if you watch the WWE and you want to see what wrestling can be like when there's actually good booking, give New Japan a subscribe and check out the G1.
So yeah, definitely looking forward to watching a lot of the G1 over the coming days. We'll probably do a G1 wrap-up show at some point in August. But until next time, Remember to give us a like on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Holy Shoot Pod. Subscribe to us on all good podcast outlets. Give us a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, whatever is a positive thing on your podcast outlet of choice. And that is the bottom line, because this pod said so.
Quickly, Sam, do something funny before I hit stop recording.
Oh yeah.
Do something funny, Sam, quick, before I
Do
start.
something funny. Oh, say something funny. Woozle Wuzzle.
Woozle Wobble. Great Simpsons reference. And we'll leave it on that.